Hello and welcome to episode 170 of New Meta Podcast. Back with a big ep this week. We've designed a new hero each. 3 brand new heroes ready to hit Valve Software or Gabe Newell at Valve Software and ready to earn some cash for us when we inevitably sell them. It's up to you to decide who's the best hero. I feel like we should post them onto the Discord maybe for people. So if you're listening and you want to read the spells, then it'll be on the Discord probably by the time you listen to this. But for now, I'll have to compare and contrast, see what our ideas are. Marco, welcome to the pod. How you doing this week?
Thank you. Doing good. Enjoyed a bit of the anime. Might have to do a bit of an anime corner.
Yeah. Anime corner. You're 2 episodes in, are you? You haven't watched any more?
No, just 2 in.
Okay, so I'm also 2 in at this point, so we're getting slowly reaching the finish line, then we can have a full anime corner, but yeah. Adam, likewise? Sorry, go on.
There was a good couple twists in the first or second episode, which I was like, so this is how Netflix makes you watch the next episode, because it'd be like, in the last 5 minutes, some kind of, twist. Mm-hmm. No, it obviously can't spoil, but it's been good fun.
They also, get you to watch it by giving you, I think, 8 seconds when the episode ends.
Oh, yeah.
Between that one and watching the next one. That's how they wrote me into watching them all, because I was just on the couch like, I guess I'll watch the next one. Because it's like a little teaser, I need to see what happens next, combined with I'm like a hand's reach away from the remote, too late,
Yeah. Yeah, it takes longer to turn it off than it does to just the next episode start playing. But yeah, Adam, welcome. How's your week been?
Good. We had a very long series of non-games, both ways, getting stomped or stomping people. And yesterday, I finally got to play real DotA.
Wow!
So that was nice. The game actually happened. And it was actually up in the air as to who was going to win. So that was nice.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like the game quality recently has been so low, at least for our stacks. I too have just been playing.
It just feels like woefully imbalanced. Like the teams.
Yeah.
They play out like that. They might not be unbalanced, but it feels like it because you either stomp or just get stomped. And I think we've been getting stomped a lot harder than we've been stomping people recently.
Mm-hmm. It seems like it, yeah. I think the more varied the party, the more wacky some of the games can be. The dream scenario of having like a 4 or 5 stack in an even game, I think, is fleeting. And at least recently that's been bad. Any party size over 3, the game quality's been pretty bad and extremely varied. I know we played a game where we were against multiple Immortals and Divine players, and then the next game we queued with exactly the same 4 stack and we were against, 2k less average MMR, it felt. I mean, did we want to do a bit of anime corner and a bit of games before moving on to the heroes, Marco? Did you want to do a bit of anime corner or not?
I'm happy to give it a bit of a shout out. It was fun to watch. So my comment, which I said to you, is that if I didn't play Dota, would I enjoy this anime? And I'd be really curious to know what a non-Dota player thought.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's a hard sample to come across because all we do is live and breathe Dota. So if anyone's got anecdotes, that'd be interesting, because when I watch it, I'm just waiting for the next Dota reference or some guy reference like, what was it, a Hellbear, and one of the neutral camps was referenced, and then you've got obviously like the appearance of Lena and CM, which is like an Ep2 spoiler. That's like hype. Ice Rack references and
Winter Wyvern flying in.
You think it's Winter Wyvern? Yeah, it's a bit debate. I'm a bit skeptical if that's Winter Wyvern, but if so, that would be cool. But yeah, just these kind of it was fun to watch. We'll see what happens to the story. In terms of the story, I am a little bit still catching up, like what the interaction is between like the Fimrin character and the Invoker, Kel'Thas, and I can't quite remember what people's deals are. So I'm in it just for the ride, but it's been fun so far.
I agree with Marco. I'm curious to see what a neutral bystander would think, but I think that's a bit tough because everything I've heard is that the League of Legends anime is just God's gift to Earth. It's like one of the greatest animated series ever. Everyone's just loves it. And all the Dota players that I've known that have watched both say that it's way better. But I don't care because I'm not watching it I'm watching it for, like what you said, for the references. So I don't care if the other one's better. I just want to watch heroes that I play the game as in a cartoon. So from that standpoint, it'd have to be pretty awful for me not to enjoy Dragon's Blood, because it's just like, haha, look at that reference. Oh, look at that hero. Oh, cool. That spell in animated form. Very cool.
Yeah. The League of Legends one, I don't know much about it, but I did hear this comment that the animation was amazing. Was theirs like an animation, like a cinematic, like how you had cinematics in World of Warcraft, as opposed to an
also
anime?
Netflix, I thought.
Was it as well?
It's definitely Netflix.
I've heard amazing things about the animation. Like, it could be a film of animation. It's so good.
Maybe a different style to the
it's also
different style.
It's also Netflix.
Yeah, I wonder what that's like then. Not going to watch it, obviously.
When you say it's Netflix, you mean it's Netflix as opposed to the Dota one, which is Studio Mir or whatever?
No, I just mean it's also on Netflix. Like, it's not a like a cinematic.
No, no, it's still a series. I've just heard really amazing stuff about the animation quality.
Yeah, I've also heard that, but what frustrates me with it is that, just looking at the Wikipedia page, Arcane Season 1 was 9 episodes, 39 to 44 minutes each. Why is Dragon's Blood 8 episodes, 22 minutes?
Wow, that is a big difference.
Like, the whole problem I had with it was that it was too short. So, why couldn't Studio Mir or Valve negotiate they could be longer?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I wanted, was just more content to flesh out loose ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder if the League of Legends storylines may be a bit simpler as well, because there's a lot to follow in the Dota, and I don't really know what's going on. It'd be better if it was a bit simpler, I think. But I'm only on episode 2, so you know. Games then. I'm just going to fly into my games. I don't have a lot to say, because we want to go on to these heroes. All I will say is, I've played 3 games of Storm Spirit this week, and they've all been world-class performances and wins. So I actually think Storm's coming out in ranked, because it feels so good. I mean, it's not yet. I need a couple more games in unranked, but if it keeps being this good, then it's definitely going to have to come out. Like, the impact, I feel like, that you can have. The first couple of games I had bad lanes because I don't know what I'm doing, and just sort of got, the first game I played I got crushed in the lane, and then the second game I got kind of lost the lane. The game I just played I was against an ALK, so you just trade farm and then you're just farmed. But in all these games, the mid game, you just turn on the heat, get kills, death squad with your team, and I just needed a Slardar in one of the games flying around. In the game I just played, I had a Nyx flying around. One of the first games, I can't remember who I had flying around, but just zipping in and just solo killing people with Orchid. And the build feels really nice. The build I'm going, just Brown Boots, Soul Ring, Orchid, Treads Kaya, and then BKB if you need it. One of the games I went Bloodstone, or I actually think Kaya Sanj is the best, and then BKB after Kaya Sanj.
Wow, yeah, quite late.
Yeah, like if you need BKB, you can just get it after. You can get it after Orchid if it's a really hard game, but after Kaya, or if you can get away with it after Kaya Sanj. The thing I didn't realise is getting the Sanj element doubles your magic amp. So it's like having another Kaya. It's not just... The casual Kaya is not as strong as you would think it would be on Storm. You're not, the calculation for Sand isn't, do I need to tank up? Do I need status resist? That's just one element of it. It's also, do I want to literally double my magic amp?
Yeah.
So it's very strong, and I had a lot of fun playing Storm in the last few days. So
yeah, I mean, Kaya Sanj is an item I feel I've seen more first pick up now as well. I know you played a Quap where you went Orchid Kaya Sanj, and I've seen Quaps straight Kaya Sanj first item.
Mm-hmm.
I think it may be the same with Storm.
You
Void Spirit. Yeah, because like you say, that 8 to 16% spell amp. That's pretty tasty.
Yeah. That Quap that I played earlier today was a heartbreaker. 60-minute loss. I thought I played really well because I'm not a good Quap player, and I was actually doing bits, and it's the first time that I've done the WE only. I just allowed the Q the whole game and just got E, maxed it with the blink, and it felt really, really nice. So I quite like that.
I've never done that. That sounds quite interesting.
It's what the pros do mostly now, and I really liked it. I only played one game, but I thought it felt really nice. Obviously, CSing in the lane is good. You don't dominate the lane, I suppose, as much, but the harass potential is really nice. And then I feel like you're ganking so much better because you have so much higher points in Blink. And your E nuke is really nice. So it's a lot quicker rather than ganking with a Q takes longer. It's less bursty, but it's maybe more damage over time. And I preferred it. To me, it felt nicer. And yeah, Orchid treads Kaya Sanj, BKB.
Even the mana efficiency, you got more mana if you've just using 2 spells.
True. Yeah.
So I just feel like you kind of lane in to the jungle, to the gank and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Maybe a bit nice.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that's all I had to report for my games. Any games to report, Marco?
I'm a one-trick pony now, Sanking player. Got got a tattoo of Sanking. I think there's only one friend of the pod that was at mercy of my Sanking performances. Adam and Stan had the pleasure of 3 Sanking mids. Combined KD of 25-29 kills and 39 deaths. So quite.
I mean, you just take out the 4 and 22 game, and it's just the other 2 games were fine. Just take out the one with 22 deaths, and your averages are much much better.
Yeah, 422 is not a advisable score to aim for as a mid in a 44-minute game. Bloody hell. That game was definitely winnable, but I was in a rough mental state. Anyway, the Sanking report is that the shard is actually kind of fun. So I know I mentioned it a few weeks ago. The one where you move, it's like 500 or 600 units, and then you do a pulse, and the pulse gets 20 more damage. So it's like 130 damage, let's say pulse level. I think at level 1 ult it's 110, so then 130, and then by 20 increments. With a Boots of Travel and a Yules, your movement speed's good enough that you are able to proc it pretty decent. And I was trying to figure out the DPS, and the DPS calculation of just your movement with this pulse is actually decent. Like a 60 DPS or something average. Right. Which is like a Radiance burn. So given you're moving all the time, you're actually getting decent proc of damage. And then it does a slow from the pulse, and it might even attack speed slow or something else. I can't remember. So anyway, I'm still not a believer in the mid game. Even this one game where I was crushing, 20 minutes I had Blink, BOTs, Yules, and Shard. This is the game where we got stomped by the PA. Phenomenal timings of items, but then people just get BKBs in the 20-minute period, and I'm now useless. And
yeah, so the Boots of Travel was sick though.
Boots of Travel on Sanking I highly recommend, and I think when you've got games going 30-40 minutes as well, it's invaluable, because with item, as a 2 or a 3, I think Boots of Travel, if you can justify it, is so value. Yeah. So Nick's results, I don't think it's great. But it was fun, and there was a really fun kill I had on a sniper and I didn't do this enough, but Sandstorm, and then I was just running circles around Sand King and he couldn't see me. Literally running circles around him and he's just getting pulped by Pulse, because I had like 100 HP, but he couldn't see me. He was running around until he died. So that was pretty cool. Nice. But yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, do you have anything any other games or anything to report, Adam?
Let's see. We lost to a Clockwork mid.
Oh god, that was really rough.
And then I tried a Clockwork mid, and I lost. But it was a lot of fun.
What build did you go? Did you rush an Orchid?
Yeah, Orchid Rush.
Yeah.
But they were like really anti-fun, because they just rushed like, I don't know, they had 4 staff, and they had an Abaddon and Glimmer Capes, and they tried really hard. So that wasn't very fun. The Abaddon went like Hand of Midas, Holy Locket, Ags, and then you couldn't kill anybody because you just pop Ags and then heal a bunch of people, and everyone was taking no damage. But it was pretty good up until they kind of Anti-Mage got his items, but before that, I killed him a couple times, That was fun. It was very fun rocket flaring from the mid lane to the side lanes. Got a couple kills and assists that way. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I think there is some potential in that build. Played 4 Wind Ranger, which might be the most fun you can have if you just want like a pub game. It's like so fun to play from ahead, because post 20 minutes, once you have the Ag Shard, it's like a more fair version of Glimpse, I think. You're just like, oh, you're trying to run away, here's a windstorm, and then it lets your carry. Yeah, it lets your carries catch up, but it's like it doesn't drag them back. They're just trying to run, and they're scared. So it's pretty fun. They go like the Yapsor build, where you don't get any focus fire. And, just blink Ag Shard, and the other team had a mid-doom and a Faceless Void carry, and so our carry had the last pick, and he's like, what do you even pick here? And you pick Wraith King, because you don't care if you get doomed, and you don't care if you get chronoed. And it was very fun. And I got an Ags. Did you know that Ags, in addition to giving you 2 charges of Wind Run, also just gives you passive 30% evasion?
I did not know that, yeah.
Yeah, so I got chronoed, and he solo chronoed, he pops Manta, I don't get off a Wind Run, and I still live, because he can't hit me. Then I pop Wind Run out of chrono and shackle him to his own illusion, and then he just dies. And it's like the most satisfying thing ever. And then if, you're not in the chrono, you can use the wind, or you can shackle. It's just like a ton of fun. I did not realize it just gives you passive 30% evasion. It's like a Giga Butterfly.
Yeah, that's very strong. I'm on the Wind Ranger page now. It's just like tucked away in the corner. It's like, and also passively provides 30% evasion. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Looking at the Friends tab.
Yikes.
33% win rate with Stan this week in 9 games. But with Dynamic, it's 75%, 3-1. So
wow.
We get those cheeky midday games when you guys are at work. And I play something like Necro, and he plays Zeus, and we just
sweat out a win.
Yeah, just the anti-fun, yeah. Nice. I forgot about the story. My one loss with Dynamic this week, we had a Sand King offline on our team, and we really needed initiation, and we could have won. Like, we were behind, but all we needed was someone to start the fight, and then we could have really stomped. But he went first item Hood, and then he ended up being 0-6, Still very winnable game. He almost has Blink Gold, but he says it's over. Destroys his items, so we just sit in the fountain. We queue up again. After I avoid him, he gets on the other team and plays offlane again. This time Viper. He goes hood first again, and I play Necro, and Dynamic plays Zeus. He goes 10-0 and 22, and we beat him, and it was like sweet justice. It's
nice.
Just like, your hood, just like, make sure you go hood first again, and he's like, I already have it queued up, and then he just continually gets Reaper Scythed, and Zeus Ags gets Nimbus, and it was so satisfying to defeat somebody that breaks items in the game beforehand.
Oh yeah, that's such a good feeling. Like, as a rare occurrence, but it's a great feeling if you queue again with someone that you've just lost with and then beat them. I don't know. I mean, that reflects negatively on us, but it's a nice feeling.
Well, no, he grieved. He broke the ice.
Yeah,
like, that's it's not that you had a hard fight game, and it's like, no, you ruined the game, and now I'm going to ruin your next game because Dota is a zero-sum game. My fun comes from your lack of fun. So build that hood again, Viper.
Oh, can I moan? I know you want to move to the next segment. Can I just do a quick moan about one of my games?
Quick moan. Moan corner.
Moan corner. It's an interesting one because we played a 4-stack and we lost against PA. Mm-hmm. It was one from a couple of days ago, if not yesterday. And the reason it hurt me so much is because I've played that PA game many a time in party, so this PA finished 23-3-12, slaughtered us. We lost the game in 31 minutes. I played that PA game so many times, and I just see it unraveling before our eyes as this PA popped off. 19-minute Battle Fury BKB, and then from that exact timing, I think she gets like team wipe, 20-minute Aegis, 22-minute Dezo. And it's like, hey, this game's going to be done because the PA is going to run, jump, kill us, dive us. And I know exactly what she wants to do because it's what I want to do as a PA. And I just remember playing that game and felt so despairing to see it happen to us. And like there was one moment, say, they just got Aegis and then the enemy's pushing on mid-tier 2. And in my head, I was like, I know. I always say the enemy team can't push tier 2 mid. Like, so we should punish. That's a terrible play to normally do. But when it's a PA that's just got BKB and Aegis and they've got like a fat IO pudge behind, BB behind as well, and we're all weak as pig shit. In my head, I was like, I know we need to dodge this. We need to dodge this game for like 20 minutes. But I remember just like, our bodies get gravitated and PA blinks, kills everyone in 2 hits. Just despair. And then like 5 minutes later, we've got this moment where PA's diving tier 4s, something I would love to do as well. Gets out on like 10 HP. Eventually Aegis dies like on the edge of the base, gets out on 10 HP again, and I'm like,
that was so frustrating.
So frustrating knowing that this PA is just slaughtering us, and it's so knife edge, and it's so like not translated, but when you like emit a message and it's so obvious what the PA wants to do and is going to do, he just does it anyway and just slaughters us anyway. And it's like, I know what this is like.
We had a little mini renaissance in that game. Remember when we were pushing mid and PA BKB'd and jumped on me and I used Ghost Scepter?
Oh, yeah.
And then PA died.
Yeah.
And we were pushing mid.
I know the play's decent, but I'm also like, they're just doing this basic gameplay, brain dead pos 1 PA gameplay. Like, if we muster up some kind of smartness and we can do this. And like you say, we did turn it for like a few minutes. I mean, PA feeds a kill but then the game's just a bit too hard.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's one of those where you're very cautious because you know you're so far behind. Then PA makes a bad play and dies, and then you're like emboldened. Like, now we can push high ground. It's like, wait a second, you just focused on the last 1 minute as opposed to the last like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's move on then because we've got some heroes to discuss.
Yeah, this will take a while.
3 heroes. If we don't get through all of them today, then no worries. We'll just revisit them tomorrow. But I don't think. I mean, maybe we'll have a lot to say on them. Maybe not. Does anybody want to start with their hero? Does anyone want to just fly in?
I feel like mine's going to be the least innovative because it only has one passive. So
wow.
I didn't want to be too boring and have 2 passives. So
I was thinking the all passive hero might be coming.
I ended up taking it quite seriously. There is Caden influence. Like, I'm dreaming of a hero that I want to come out.
Okay.
And I think there's some cool ideas in there, and it's obvious you'll hear the spells, and it's clearly tailored to be strictly position 1.
Right. Well, before you say too much more,
okay, yeah.
Adam, do you have any? I'm interested. Do you have any predictions for Marco's hero? I feel like he's just said carry. I think that would have been my prediction as well. What's your theory on like?
I predicted he was going to make a carry. I thought it would have had multiple passives, but he said just one. Attribute? I think I told you yesterday that it was Agi, unless it was strength melee, because you can't have strength melee carry. But I feel like it's going to be an Agi carry, personally.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Marco, there's all get into it. I don't know how deep you've gone, because I'm still not 100% on my attribute. I mean, I kind of am, but it's not integral to the hero. But go on, what's going down with your hero?
So, strength.
Nice.
but like Adam says, and as we know, you need Agi heroes, Agi, attack speed, armor. That attribute is tailored to be a late game carry, so you'll see that in the spells that I make adjustments for the fact that it's a strength hero that I want to be a pos 1. So anyway, strength.
It's going to have an attack speed or like steroid.
Adam, keep a lid on it.
Yeah.
So strength, movement speed 310, because you need to have movement speed to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the first spell I think is cool. So it's a vector targeting up to 500
Wait, do we have a
range.
name for the hero?
I don't have names for anything. Oh, do I have to tell you? Well, it just looks like Caden.
Okay,
Caden. All right, this is Caden.
So melee.
Oh yeah, melee. So I haven't thought about names of any spells or heroes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So just going from like mechanics. So spell number 1, vector targeting up to 500 range. So you can cast it. Doesn't have to be 500 range, maybe 600 max, but vector targeting in that range. What you do, you charge, you kind of do a rush through the vector to the end point, and any enemy you pass through gets swiped, slash. So this guy's got a massive badass sword, by the way, obviously. Okay. Any target you rush through gets slashed, kind of uppercut with the sword into the air, and they're into the air for 1 second. You're a slash attack. Like a toss, yeah, like slash top up in the air for a second. They take 100 scaling to 200 damage, plus 40 scaling to 70% of your attack damage. Cooldown, 20, scales 2 seconds down to 14. So that's the first spell. So it ticks my boxes of mobility, initiation, and then it's obviously rooted around damage and also a bit of disable. So
is it like, is the vector targeting going to be like Darkseer's Wall? Or is it like out?
Oh, it's
not
like
out from your
Marcy
hero,
Jump.
Oh, it's like Marcy.
Like Marcy Jump. Yep. So you're pulling the vector that you charge through, and it's a straight line up to 600 distance.
Well, it's almost like point targeted, but you just run through the line.
I guess, yeah. But you can change how far through the line you run, so you might only want to go 300 units rather than the full 600.
I'm a bit... Yeah. So...
I guess it doesn't have to be vector then, yeah.
So it doesn't have to... So it doesn't have to be vector then, because you're not
it doesn't
going...
have to be vector. Yeah,
so you're pointing you're pointing somewhere, a point and click, and you charge towards it and you flick everything up in the air.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
so
but it's like, if you have a spell indicator, it will draw the line. So, I mean, in a way, it's kind of...
maybe...
It's interesting, 'cause yeah.
Maybe I could just force it to be a vector so that you start your rush from wherever the vector starts and you do it in a line from that point. So that will give it just, I guess, a bit more range. And
I like that you can, you don't have to run the full amount. I like that.
Yeah. So there's quite a lot of value to that spell, given it also does a bit of a disable and damage.
What was did you think about the lunge distance? Is that something you thought about?
It's max 600.
Max 600, got it. So it's reasonably far then.
Yeah, I did think 500 maybe, because maybe 600 is too OP, but it's a decent gap close.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is also your farming ability, I would think, so.
There's a farming element as well, yeah. Because I was thinking, if you're a POS 1, you need some spell that has gap close or movability.
What was the range, sorry, 700?
600.
600, okay, so it's a bit less than level 1 Astral Step, so it's less than a level 1 Astral Step.
You want it to be able to go through a creep wave. If you're going to farm the creep wave.
Yeah.
It would be that long, at least.
Smash through a creep wave.
Cool.
Okay, happy with that spell. Should I do number 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alright, here we go. Passive in capital letters. Spell 2. So I thought quite long and hard, like, what passive stuff could we throw in? Because there are quite a few heroes with passives, and there's only a finite amount of things you can do with passives. So what I've gone for is 4th attack in a row. So it's just the 4th one you do. Mm-hmm. So every hit, the sword gets that bit more imbued with purple, cool energy. Mm-hmm. Douche, douche, douche. On the 4th attack, release powerful attack, which silences and disarms for 1 second and deals 30, 50, 70, 90 magic damage.
Lucky shot.
So
disarm and silence.
Because, I mean, every passive has, like, it's either bash, root, disarm, silence. Mm-hmm. I also thought about minus armor, but then I thought that's going to be a bit too shit late game.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone's got, like, loads of armor. So I also had root and silence at first, but then I thought the lore of rooting with this, like, sword slash wasn't into, so I went for disarm instead. So disarm and silence, like, kind of been shocked. Oh, I can't cast spells. And you're disarmed because, boom, I've just slapped you with a massive sword. But you can still use items.
Yeah.
I think it's fine as long as the third skill isn't troll passive, where you just get to wail on somebody and gain attack speed.
And also, it won't be as triggering as Lucky Shot because it's not RNG. It's like on the 4th hit.
Right.
On the 4th hit.
Yeah.
Is it dispellable?
Yeah.
Yeah, then there you go. It's fine.
Can you not dispel Lucky Shot?
No, I just mean, like, if you, as a, late game carry versus carry, and they BKB, I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It's not like you're disarming through BKB, like just attacking. It's fine.
Yeah, and to get disarm and silence for a second. Okay, so there's some passive. All right, spell 3. Bit kind of like mixed feelings on this one. It's a bit rogue, bit of defensive one, and I guess this is also the spell where there's the angle for a non-pos one. So. Don't know what it's called, but channels an electric/magnetic force field chamber from the sword around the hero. Reduces incoming damage by 45, scaling to 75%. Duration, 2.5 seconds. So it's a channel, locked down, like knees on the floor, sword in the ground, channel for 2.5, where you're basically taking much less incoming damage. But because it's a channel, it's obviously interruptible. Mm-hmm. Oh, and you're untargetable. So you're in this like untargetable shield cocoon, taking less damage.
But you can be right-clicked.
You can be right-clicked. You can be spells hit on you. If the non...
You said you were untargetable.
I guess like right-click doesn't mean targetable. Yeah,
I guess you can't right-click as well.
You can't be right-clicked then, yeah.
Oh, you're meant to be able to be right-clicked.
But there's a way... I mean, if you're BKB, you can't be spell targeted, but you can be right clicked. So it's just
maybe you're spell immune for
spell immune.
But I want you to be able to be interrupted because it's a channel.
Well,
so maybe the
untargetable
untargetable
would still go
bit.
through that. Swap would probably get rid of it.
Can't target. Maybe I get rid of the untargetable bit then. So it's basically just like a channel in, taking less attack damage, less spell damage, but it could be interrupted.
That seems pretty supporty.
Yeah, the shard will make it supporty. So this to me is like
you channel into trees on your carry or something, and they're just taking no damage.
I think it's reasonable to not be able to be right-clicked. I mean, it's really strong. Maybe if you adjust the CD a little bit or something, and then I don't think it's that bad to be untargetable.
I did like the untargetable element, because what I was thinking is that you're not healing, no.
Like, so it's just like a pause to let your cooldowns come back and stuff.
It's, pause.
Right, because you're not attacking either, because you're channeling. So
this can only be targeted on yourself. So this is only self-cast at the moment.
Okay. So wait, can you...
At the moment.
So other people on your team aren't affected by the field?
Not unless you pay 1,400 gold after 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Not at the moment. Okay, so maybe untargetable then and reduce. So you can't get right-clicked, but you could get interrupted with... It's like a willow goes untargetable. You can still get hurt. Okay, so a bit utility spell for yourself. 20-second cooldown, maybe make it 25. Mana 100, fine.
It's fine. I don't think that's that strong, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything. All you're doing is... You're literally not doing anything. The only advantage to it... Because you're not dealing any damage, and you're still taking damage. So the only advantage is to get your cooldowns back, right? That's like the
and
only
have
thing.
them use their cooldowns.
Yeah, to survive burst as well. I feel like that's like the only thing.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a tactical... Nothing offensive about it.
Mm-hmm.
To try and
you could have low. Yeah, you could have lower than 20. I mean, you could have like, I don't know. It'd be interesting. That's an interesting spell. I quite like that.
You don't really know how effective it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this better have attack speed tied into it.
All right, ultimate ability: supercharge the sword of Caden. Imbues dragon energy into sword. They're the first 2 bullet points. Next bullet point.
Nice flavour.
Increase attack speed by 40/60/80. So that's like a hyperstone up to 2 hyperstones. Each attack releases a pulse with a radius of 500 around the target, which deals 60, 70, 80 scaling damage and a slow of 20%. So if you imagine, boom, someone takes a right click, emits a pulse from that target, and that pulse deals AoE damage and slow.
Mm-hmm.
As well as to the target.
This is every right click?
Every right click during the ultimate.
Okay.
So every right click in the ult's got this kind of added bonus damage of 60, 70, 80, which is maybe a bit too much. Because the ult lasts 8 seconds. And you've also got increased attack speed whilst you're hitting douche, douche, douche. And every 4th attack, you've also got the passive getting involved as well. So it's like a Sven, but with attack speed and a bit, and like a kind of an interesting effect.
Yeah. Is this going to be
an ultimate, so I'm fine with it because if you think about it, Lifestealer gets 50 attack speed with his passive. So, with Ghoul Frenzy or whatever, he gets a movement slow and like 50 attack speed at max or something like that. So I think the amount of attack speed you're getting on this is fine.
I think that's fine, yeah. If it only lasts 8 seconds, what's the cooldown? Is it going to be like medium level cooldown, or are you not sure?
I've put 80, 70, 60, because I think if it was 60, I've put 150 mana as well, so quite mana intensive for a strength hero. I felt like if it was 60 and you got Soul Ring, you could be doing like crazy stacks, and your uptime in skirmishes would be pretty good, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So 80 CD at level 1, 8 second duration. This is, the super buff spell.
Interesting. And then what? You've got a shard and a ags, have you, or something?
So the shard is... Shield is now... You can grab allies. So you can pull allies into your channel.
Cool.
So a bit of this like +4 utility like shards often do. And then... I wasn't really sure about the Agony Scepter. I've said new spell, but I'm a bit undecided exactly what the spell would be. So I might have to leave that to the side. And then I do have talents. I don't know how interesting talents are.
Well, I did talents, so...
Wow, I've actually put in the least work for this. Feels bad.
I thought there was going to be a super high bar. I was worried. So got all the talents set out. The most interesting ones is... So we got strength at 10 or shield duration. 15, we've got damage or vector range. So at 15, you can increase that vector spell to plus 250, which maybe is a bit too much, so maybe plus 200. so a bit more movability. 20, we've got minus cooldown on the shield, so again, that support route, versus 30 attack speed, so basic buff. Then 25, passive needs 3 hits rather than 4, or reduce the cooldown. Maybe that's too much, but level 25
it's a 25, so... but
yeah.
You want it to be tasty, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty tasty.
Cool.
So I'm thinking I get phase boots. I kind of thought I just get Dezo, and then you got this ult to give you the attack speed, maybe even an armlet. I just smack heroes. You're gonna have to probably get BKB to keep fighting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like it. I feel like, I don't know about yours, Adam, but it's definitely more game ready than mine, probably. I feel like it fits in quite well.
So the Q was in pure inspiration from Ep 2, where he did that kind of attack of uppercut with his sword, and it like smacked one of the dragons into the air, kind of. And it made me think about, I wanted to do this vectory charge thing like a Doppel rush or the Phantom Lancer rush, where you kind of gap close that way, but one where you kind of go through heroes and affect them when you do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where
I think you could even scale the stun. I don't think it has to be a flat one.
Oh, I think that was one of my talents. I thought one of my talents might have been increase the stun duration.
Maybe does it have a stun and then like an in the air duration?
Well, it's in India. It's just all the same.
So they're not stunned when they come down.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think you could make it longer then.
Interesting.
Or add a stun component when they come down.
Yeah, maybe 1 second's too short for
something that scales. Yeah, but I do like the attack through the line and knock everyone up.
Wow, very cool. Pos 1
great
coming
feedback.
coming to a Dota game near you. I quite like it. I feel like it's a lot more. It's maybe simpler than mine, and therefore better, because I think mine is so bizarre. Oh, it is like quite bizarre.
I'm interested.
There's some
now.
weird stuff going on with mine.
Yeah, I think mine's a lot more complicated too.
Nice. What complexity is yours? A 1 complexity hero, Marco?
To be honest, it's not 1 because it has got buttons, channel, vector. So it definitely is 2.
Yeah.
If I went for like the quintessential hero design, I think Adam's right. 4 passives, 1 complexity. Job's a good one, but this one, it's reasonable 2, balanced.
I guess. Mine's probably a 2. I would think. Mine
is probably a 2 as well, like high 2, low 3. It's definitely not as hard to play as like some Meepo thing. But there are some weird heroes that are considered 3 complexity, like Storm Spirit and Rubik.
Yeah.
Really?
So, anyway, I mean, do we want to hear about Adam, your hero?
Sure. Okay, I'm going to post in the Discord, but don't read ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to have it open and not...
Yeah,
and just
don't read ahead.
That face.
All right. So... what I was thinking about going into this hero, things I've wanted in the game, I was thinking like, I want an anti-carry in the game.
Ooh.
And then I was thinking like, I really like, Grimstroke, all like leashing things to people. And then I had this thought in my head. I was like, I'm going to do something like a frog that can shoot out his tongue and attach to someone. I'm like, oh, that's just Shadow Shaman E with the frog cosmetic. So it was like, that's not new. And then I was sad. But then I was like, oh, I really like the idea of a frog, a hero, a non-humanoid. So this hero is named Toady.
Nice.
And his, so you know how heroes have names and titles. So his title is a demonic sycophant, because a sycophant is another word for a toady, like a sidekick. So like got the big bad boss and then like his toady. So it's kind of like a pun. And the artwork, I mean, this will get posted in the Discord, but it's from the card Huge Toad from Hearthstone, which was like a very throwaway card, but I always liked the picture. And lore-wise, he's just from the same place as Venomancer. So he's from the Acid Jungles.
Okay.
So you can kind of see where this is going.
Anti-fun hero, is this what we're talking?
Anti-fun. we got some poison. So he's a strength hero. And I did like scalings too. So he's primary strength 27 plus 3.
Isn't plus 3 big?
It's not, but 27 is huge. 27 is on the range of Tidehunter and Spiritbreaker, so it's second highest below Centaur. But the scaling isn't.
Okay.
It's like middle of the pack. He's going to have like 740 health at level 1 without items, so it's pretty beefy. Agi's bad, 17 plus 1.7, and Int. Oh, it didn't get put in there. It's plus 1.9, but whatever ends up giving him 399 mana at level 1. It was on the range. It was like very middle of the pack too.
Okay.
He does have a lot of armor, which is like 4.5 without items. So he's a pretty beefy, tanky boy. It's kind of like, Spirit Breaker in a way. Standard magic resist, status resist. 55 damage, level 1, without items. He's pseudo melee. He hits with his tongue. So because of that, he gets the Monkey King range. He gets 300 range on his right click.
Hits with his tongue. Have we taken lore too far?
What do you mean? He's a frog. What's he gonna...
That seems like a weak hit.
It's a strong tongue.
I hope so.
Weak base attack time, 1.9. So it's like on the slow end. This is not some carry, So he's got kind of a beefy right click, but he's slow. And he's 295 move speed, so he's slow. He's kind of like an immovable object. And then like standard turn rate, standard collision. And then I gave him a slight buff to night vision. Instead of 800, it's 1,000. Just because I thought he's a frog and they can see it. They can see at night. But, okay, so just a picture a big toad. I'm using frog and toad interchangeably. He's kind of based off a poison dart frog, but his name's Toady. Because I wanted a poison frog. So the Q, this is like the throwaway ability, but it's called Tongue Lash. And I wrote all these like it was as a hero. So it says, Toady whips his tongue in a cone, applying his attack and slowing all enemies hit. 1 stack of the current level of Batraco toxin is applied.
No way.
That's the passive, but we'll get into that. So the Cone Lash, imagine this like goes left, right. So it's kind of like a 2-hit thing. Cone is 800. Imagine that is a Scatterblast from from Snapfire. And then it's AoE, physical damage. Damage goes through spell immunity. And it just applies his attack, and then it's got bonus damage of 75% plus 50, 75, 100, 125, which is Hoodwink Q. That's how hers scales. I think it's balanced because it's only 2 hits. It's not bouncing a million times.
Do you get 1 stack of Batra chokes in for each slap, so up to 2?
Now that I think about it, yes.
So there's 2 hits from the...
Yeah, so there's 2 hits from the... I think that's the way I'm going to go with it. I might have to change the passive now that I think about it. But I already kind of used the talent for this contingency. So yeah, we'll say it applies each. Okay, so the W, we got to attack him with the tongue. What else does a frog do? He jumps. So this is called frog jump. says after gathering energy, Toady leaps with reckless abandon, stunning enemies for a short duration. Effective units are slowed after the stun. 1 stack of the current level of batrachotoxin is applied. So 1,000 range. So pretty. It's less than the Q or the W on Marcy. So you want to think this ability like Monkey King Primal Spring plus Slithering Crush. So you channel for a second. It's got a 1 second stun, like Slithering Crush, very small, but it's got a slow duration. So the move speed slow is 25 scaling to 35, and the slow scales from 3 to 6. And then this is kind of your so it's like kind of an AoE damage, physical damage. There's also a physical damage type support hero. I like, the whole dazzle thing. So damage is 70, 140, 210, 280. That's also the scaling on Slardar. Okay, now this is kind of what makes the hero go, is the passive. Batrachotoxin, which is like what a poison dart frog has. It's kind of a crappy name, but we're going off of real life.
Sounds pretty good to me.
So it's a passive, and Toady leaves a slimy trail of corrosive poison in his wake, damaging, slowing, and corroding the armor of those who dare to pursue. 1 stack of the current level of batrachotoxin is applied. So basically, everywhere he goes, it's 3.5 seconds. There's like a trail, so it lasts for 3.5 seconds behind him. DPS per stack is 8, scaling to 20. Slow per stack is 2.5, scaling to 10. Minus armor per stack is -1, scaling to -4. Max stacks is 5. And the duration is 8. So this is like Poison Sting mixed with a lot of things.
I think these numbers are a bit too crazy, because with 5 stacks, you've got -20 armor, -50% slow, and 4...
Yes. But you're not going to get that on everybody.
And 100 DPS.
Because they're going to have to...
Yeah, your spells are doing stacks as well.
Yeah, so the whole play pattern is you have to hit... It's like Lena Fiery Souls. Like, you're not going to be able to get everything on everybody all the time.
So there's a trail so Toady leaves a trail behind them.
Yeah.
And so if you walk into that, you get 1 stack.
Right.
And it also, you apply a stack with each attack?
No.
Oh, no. So it's just
like your Q or your W. Like the spells apply them.
Right. The Q, the W, and the trail behind him. Okay.
Can you get multiple stacks from the trail, or is it only ever 1 from the trail?
No, it's just 1. It's just 1.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
And what I had was basically the tongue lash. I had a talent for it to have 2 charges. So that's why I gave it 1 more stack than the number of spells you had, so that if you went the talent, you could get an extra stack. So I think I like that because... So maybe we only have the tongue lash ability apply once in its cast. So really only you can get 4 until you take the talent at level 20. So that kind of like tones it down. If you hit everybody or hit one hero with all your stuff. Yeah, because I halved the duration of it. It's like half as long as Poison Sting, because that lasts 15 seconds. But I wanted basically a hero that discourages you from chasing them, because they're just leaving it like a trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting, I like it. It's so funny, the frog jump. I know we're revisiting the spell that we've just done, but it's so funny, the frog jump, that you've done a leaping ability that applies a 1 second stun. Marco's done a leaping ability that applies a 1 second stun. Yeah. And I've basically done that. I've basically got a leaping ability for 1 stun. So it's interesting that it came up with that.
Yeah. But mine has a channel, so like you can't...
Yes, that's true. Yours has a
channel. You're a little bit...
big range.
Get interrupted and stuff. Yeah, because it's like... I liked the idea of building up the energy and then jumping. So you get to go a little bit farther. but it's like got a little bit of counterplay. It's not like you can just go into a whole fight and then just leap out without having the chance of it being.
Mm-hmm. Do you say what?
But that also means you can go from the trees. You can channel from the trees and jump on somebody. You know, like you can hide, and it's got pretty good range.
Did you say what the AoE was of that? Because you say it says area targeted.
I guess I just meant that. I think like Primal Spring, probably, or like
okay.
Auxiliary Crush. Like, well, I don't want it to be big, so maybe if Crush is smaller,
maybe like Crush.
Yeah,
maybe like Crush. Yeah,
interesting.
So the thought behind this ability was that item in Ag's Lab where you get to do the seal jump thing. You know that item I'm talking about? That sometimes
it's a pass forward.
It's a neutral item and you jump forward along a line. That was the first iteration in my head, but I kind of wanted it to, like you channel and then jump to one spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now I think the passive is definitely overtuned, but I wanted to get the idea of across.
That's fine. We're shipping these heroes. They're going
to but the ultimate is Giga Broken. So, is called Rivet, and Toady engulfs his target, disabling and soaking the enemy with his powerful toxin. Toady has full of movement while engorged. Teleporting or blinking will cause Toady to expel the target. Soaked enemies take percentage-based damage and can now activate items for a duration after expulsion. 1 stack of the current level of Attractive Toxin is applied. So I wanted an anti-carry, and I wanted an item out-mute ability. So that was like kind of cool, new-ish area. Like, Doom does that obviously, and then like Ags on Storm Spirit. But it's like I want to have more things where you can't use your items. You can cast your spells, but you can't use items. But that's not really the Giga OP thing. The Giga OP thing is that this is basically Pudge Dismember on an ally, but you're using it on an enemy, and you can like frog jump away. So,
blink in, consume, and then frog jump home,
and then jump away. Yeah.
Oh,
so
dear.
It's like It's like a lasso in a way, but you're not dragging. It is very small. It's 160 cast range. That's Dismember cast range. So it's like you would have to hook somebody in. So you're basically going to have to early game frog jump in to get into range to be able to eat them and then walk away. It's like you're not going to be able to get a whole bunch of movement. You know what I mean?
Or if they're jumping on you, though, then you just eat them.
Right. Yeah. And then, but in the later game, the play pattern is definitely blink, eat somebody, frog jump out. But that's why I gave it the channel, so that there is some counterplay until you have BKB or something. But and I also scaled it so the engulf duration is 1.5, 3, 4.5, and then it's got this is magical damage. The other 3 are physical, but this is basically Winter Wyvern Q. So current HP burn per second probably needs to be scaled, but I had it at 10.
Yeah, it seems like
a
big number.
It's current HP, so it's not max HP. If it was max HP, that'd be crazy. And also, it's
to be fair, static field is 10%, isn't it? Health reduction.
Yeah, it's just like I want it to be noticeable because you are like eating someone and corroding them. And then I have the mute 357 because
7-second mute. Is that after being spat out?
Yeah, that's at 18 though. That's at max. It's like it's okay. Know.
Yeah, I mean, you think about Doom. Doom's
Doom's like twice as long.
Yeah.
But I think this is ability. I like. There's some idea to it that I like, but I think it's very overscaled. I really like the idea of eating someone like Kirby and then jumping away. Like in Smash where you eat them and walk off the edge or something and they die. Right. And then talents, I gave at 10. You choose between 15 move speed or 9 strength. 15 is 350 HP or 300 range on your frog jump.
Mm-hmm.
20 is 2 charges on Tongue Lash, or you can ribbit allies. So it's
I like
a
that,
dismember.
riveting allies.
Yeah, it's like a pudge dismember. And then at 25 is 2 times your passive stats, like Viper gets, or ribbit pierces spell immunity.
So 2 times your stats.
That's way. Well, it's like you just double the numbers. So it's actually just
good.
That's too much. It's too much because it's like 100% move slow. I just realized. And minus 40 armor. Woo.
Nice. Oh,
that's a little too much, but I don't know. I liked. So this is kind of like a minus armor item muting anti-carry frog.
Mm-hmm. I like the gameplay idea. I like the idea of grabbing a blink or something, being tanky, being naturally quite tanky, flying in with your toxin behind you, tongue slashing, whipping as many people as you can in a cone, and then just like ribbiting someone and just like existing as it is like an anti-carry. Because you don't have a ton of burst, because it's more like damage over time, but you also just ribbit someone and you're just like, what up? You're now just engulfed, and then toad jumping out or toad jumping in. Yeah. I think it'd be a lot of fun to play.
You could BKB it all the slows and stuff, but I liked the idea of like, you just grab somebody out of a fight, anti-carry in that way. So, yeah. Toady.
Wow, very cool. Is this a POS 3? What do you reckon, Marco?
I feel like there's POS 4 element to it because of the spells of these.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's 3 or 4. Oh. Mm-hmm. Well, probably, I guess you could 2 through 5 it, but it definitely doesn't carry, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there is this Batrider element with the trail stuff, but then I don't think it's got the mobility. Well, it doesn't have the mobility that a Batrider has with Firefly and the speed of Batrider's items and stuff. It feels, therefore, that it can't be like... it shouldn't be as core, and therefore go POS 4 with your fancy spells.
Interesting. I definitely want to play at 3 if I played it for the first time. Get some item, like get even tankier, just be even more annoying just getting this, get the stacks up and stuff.
What's the CD on Ribbit?
Oh, so I didn't do cooldowns and mana costs because I thought they were too hard to balance. I didn't have any idea, but I would think Ribbit would be long.
Mm-hmm.
It probably would be like Lasso cooldown.
Lasso's like weirdly not very long, but yeah.
I thought Lasso was made longer.
Oh, it's 110. Okay, I thought it was less than that. I thought it was like 90 or 80. Yeah, they nerfed it, didn't they?
It definitely doesn't have it's not like Laguna Blade.
Mm-hmm.
It's or Hoodwink is like 45 seconds on all. It's definitely not like that. That's too much. It's like a team, like the big initiator spell. Mm-hmm. Not team fight, I guess, but like, pop off this fight with something big.
Yeah, I mean, engulfing a hero for 4.5 seconds and then having them muted for 7 seconds after that is like, that's a good way to start a fight for sure.
Yeah.
When you're flying around.
When you say it like that.
Yeah. Taking Blink stun to a whole new level. It's like Blink banish into mute. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, because that total time feels pretty
good.
It's pretty strong.
Yeah, because then when you get spat out, you can't BKB.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So you just like you just plop someone into the middle of your team. And
there are definitely some problems.
That's all right. I haven't done mine yet. There's some problems. There's lots of problems.
So it's like so it's like Doom, but then you decide where the enemy target goes.
It's like I really liked this hero and the gameplay pattern, but I also really, really liked the idea of mute.
Yeah.
So I had to work it in somewhere, but you could probably give it something else that would be much more fair.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could put the mute thing on another hero that, I really want a hero that turns off items. Mm-hmm. So, and I thought like, oh, this guy's got a lot of poison, and like he's going to corrode their items once he eats them to where they can't use them for a bit. So like flavor wise, I sold it, but gameplay wise, you really can't. I don't think you really can engulf somebody, jump away, throw them into your team, and they have no item counterplay to it. Like it's
There's definitely some day one exploits as well, where you ribbit someone and then get like recalled to Fountain or something. And,
no, I said okay, yeah. I said teleporting or blinking will cause Toady to. So it's like the Batrider thing, where you can't
too much movement.
You can't lasso and then blink away because it breaks it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same type of idea, but yeah, you're right. Probably recall would day one go through, and then it'd be the new Fountain hook.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Way easier to pull off.
Let me just. I can't wait another week for my hero.
I also want to say, if I gave this tongue lash, if I made it, I almost could have made Pudge. If I just gave the cue, like, and you hook somebody with your tongue, and then you eat them with your arm. But I held off. It's like, we can't make Yoshi as an ability.
Nice, yeah. I mean, Pudge is a pretty good way to go. A Pudge-like hero, Pudge-esque, with the pick rate the hero has. So I feel like this one will be pretty popular. Interestingly, the way to balance Toady is my hero, maybe, because it would be maybe like a counter, I think, or like somewhat of a counter.
Well, did we make 3 strength heroes? Because I know you were torn.
So mine is not strength. I've decided definitively that it is not strength.
Because I was like, that'd be totally like us to independently come up with 3 strength heroes.
Yeah. No, so mine's an int hero, and it's actually I think a support. I'm almost certain it's not a core. There's no part of this hero that makes me think it would be a core. So I will upload this to the Discord tomorrow when I've made some small adjustments. So for now, I'll just read it. So I've called it hero. The name is really hard. I've called it Hypno Wizard, and I've got a little picture of like a sort of goblin wizard holding a pendant. And that, so, you know, you can look forward to that on the Discord. It's from the sort of family of Timbersaw. He's like a goblin.
He's a keen,
yeah. So he's a keen / goblin, whatever, wizard person. He's int and he's ranged with an asterisk. I'll come back to that. Having a reread of the hero, it's definitely 3 complexity. I don't know what part of my brain thought it would ever be 2 complexity. This is very 3 complexity because the hero doesn't really make a lot of sense. There's a lot going on.
Okay, so, did you think mine was 2 complexity?
Yeah, I think yours is 2, yeah.
Like, it has a play pattern, but it's not super, like, it's complex.
There's stacks it's muting and yeah. I mean, it's...
All right, now I want to hear a 3 complexity hero.
Okay, it's a 3 complexity hero. You're going to have to bear with me because it's a bit confusing. So, it's int, it's ranged with an asterisk. Well, no, it's ranged. I haven't got stats, I'm afraid, so I think there's nothing else.
How much range? Standard 600?
Maybe a little bit less than standard. Like, slightly less than standard. Okay. So I don't know what like Leshrak's range is, but maybe a bit better than that.
Lesh is a
maybe
bit less.
Maybe give it 550 instead of 600 or something.
Maybe it would be 600 actually. I don't think it's that important, but I think maybe about the standard. I want it to be able to function in a lane and like trade without just being garbage. Maybe Lesh is fine actually. I think actually let's go Lesh. And I'm making up on the fly here. Anyway, so I'm just going to fly into the spells. So the first spell I'm calling Alter Ego, and it creates an illusion of your hero. So it creates an illusion of Hypno Wizard, which takes additional damage. The illusion lasts indefinitely, so it doesn't die, it's permanent. Recasting the ability will destroy the current illusion in favour of casting a new one, Spirit Bear style for Lone Druid. If the illusion dies, your hero takes 50% of its current HP as damage, as like HP removal. So if your illusion dies, you take half your health. Your illusion. So far I've got illusion damage taken 200%, so it takes twice as much damage, and the damage dealt is 10%, so it deals like no damage at all. And I put a big cooldown. I put 150 seconds, but that could be adjusted. So it's like Spirit Bear kind of gist, except it does no damage. It's just there.
Well, Spirit Bear also does no damage.
True, so, yeah. So there's some, yeah. That's
this is
the
wild.
idea.
You You made a lone druid. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, I wanted a bit of micro in there, a bit of Meepo vibes.
I know. Of course, your heart goes to micro, but this is I like this so far.
So you've got a perma illusion. The second ability, and it's gonna be a bit weird until let me just go to the fourth ability, the fourth regular ability. And this is a bit like Puck Jaunt, so it's called Switcheroo. So swap locations with your alter ego. And I've put after a 0.4 second channel, but that I might take that out. I might make it a bit longer, but at the moment, like a very short channel, 0.4 seconds. So any debuffs affecting your alter ego to continue to affect your hero after a switcheroo. And if your hero takes if Hypno Wizard takes damage, hero damage, the cooldown of this spell resets, and it's a 3-second cooldown. So you can switch a lot, basically. You can like douche between your dudes on a 3-second cooldown, but if you take hero damage, you can't. So
now you said the debuffs persist or get switched?
Persist. So if your illusion has lots of debuffs and then you switch into it, you still have those debuffs. And your
on the illusion or you?
On you. You. And your illusion wouldn't have debuffs if you switch out something. Okay. So
is there a range, or is this global?
It's global.
But then you can't do this if you're taking damage, so I mean most debuffs are going to be stopping you casting this. To me, this is like Morph's old Morph where you but then it just sounds like this global farming tool at the moment. Because at first I was like, is this just put it in the fountain and you never die? But
so that is
about
that
the damage.
Part of it. Put it in that is a genuine thing of like put it in the fountain and never die. Because
or
that is an option.
You can go back,
and
then when you're healing, you can send out the illusion. It's just like a TP, kind of.
Well, the illusion's already there, so then you just go back to it after you've gone home.
So what you could do is...
you don't even... Yeah, it's not like you're both going back. Yeah,
level 1, you spawn... if you get Alter Ego level 1, you just send it all the way to base, and then as long as you're safe for 3 seconds, you just swap,
the global mobility of this seems crazy, because you go to somewhere else on the map, and then do something, but during that time you can send the first illusion to a new place on the map and then go there. So your mobility is like almost more global than...
Well, you're not global because you only be in 2 places. You can't go anywhere, but you can be in 2 places.
You can move that TP position of the second illusion as you're doing stuff elsewhere.
But
you basically got two. It's almost like having 2 heroes.
Yeah,
it's almost like an arc order thing, but it is a lot weaker. It takes 200%.
And then do you say deals 10%?
Yeah, it deals no
50.
damage.
Oh, it deals no damage, but when it dies, you get giga.
Yes, you lose.
So
half
it's just like at the moment floating TP port.
Yeah, it's just a replicate. Yeah, so it's just global potential right now. So in and of itself, it's not OP.
Global TP, a TP to a certain location that you can change.
Yeah, I think it's already touching OP status.
Well, I mean, it depends on what everything else does. But right now, I think in a vacuum, it's okay.
Just my point is that Morph's Replicate has a one-time use. This is like infinite use, infinitely in the game. Like, so I think we broached OP before we've even got started.
Maybe the hero doesn't do anything else, and then
so I may be getting cooldowns a bit mixed up. So there's like a 3-second delay, like Blink.
Yeah,
but the actual cooldown can be higher than that.
Oh, I thought the cooldown of the spell was 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I've written. Oh. That's what I'm reading. But originally it was going to have a cooldown, but I guess I just haven't written it in here. But anyway,
I think it should have.
The cooldown on when you're taking damage is 3 seconds, like Blink. That makes a lot more sense. I thought, you're just going back and forth from the fountain.
No,
permanently.
You can't take damage on your hero. So, like, if you're dying, you're going to die. There's nothing you could do. You can't switch out.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, but it's like allowing a hero to blink. Oh, don't let them blink. Like maybe if you're being chased, you have a chance if you aren't going to take damage for 3 seconds to get out. So I wanted a hero with a bit of escape in that sense. But I do want the cooldown to be low. If this is going to have a cooldown on Switcheroo, I don't want it to be high. I want it to be like low, like 10, 12 seconds or something. Right. So it's still going to be really strong. It's not going to be a long cooldown. It may be longer than 3, but it's not going to be long. It's going to be a short cooldown. Anyway, so that's part 1. And by the way, it's going to get OP, so don't worry about trying to keep it in a balance perspective.
Yeah.
So the second spell is I've put Hypno Swing, and this is the lunge into 1 second stun spell. So Hypno Wizard lunges forward a short distance, delivering a small stun and slowing all enemies in an area around the target. So the lunge distance is 300, so it's less than slightly more than Earth Shock on Ursa. So you've got to be really close to them. So it's kind of bad in the sense that you've got to be close. The radius at target is 150, so it's a really short radius. So it is an AoE stun, but it's really small, 150 radius. So really you're going to be using it on one hero most of the time. The movement slow, 20%. Damage is low, 30 scaling to 110, so it's not good for farming. It doesn't really do much damage at all. And the slow duration scales from 1 to 4, and the cooldown scales I've got from 26 to 11. So you're mostly scaling the cooldown, you're scaling the slow duration, and you're scaling a little bit of damage, but not really. And then another idea that I had was that your illusion has this spell as well, but it's a ranged stun, so the illusion doesn't do the lunge, it just does the stun with a projectile instead. That's TBD. That's something that I've just thought about before we started podding. But anyway, Hypno Swing, a short duration stun, kind of so-so. Then I've got Phantasma Aura as the third spell. So the hero's Hypno Wizard's presence increases the magic damage of your allies and decreases the magic resistance of your enemies. So it's an aura, doesn't pierce spell immunity. So it's only an 800 radius around you, which is normal auras are 1200, so this is shorter than a normal aura. Magic damage amplification is 5, 7, 9, 11%, and magic damage reduction is 5, 7, 9, 11%. So at max, it's like a 22% magic amp or a 22% magic resist reduction. So it's pretty good. One idea I had was separating it, so the amps on one hero, on your hero, and the reductions on your alter ego maybe. But I don't know, that's TBD. But so far it's basically just an aura that does damage amp and damage reduction. I thought I'd split it up because then it's a bit more diverse. You can't just counter it quite so easily because you get diminishing returns from these things. I think it's slightly better. Anyway. And then finally we've got Hypnosis, the ultimate. And this is where this spell's a little bit nuts. So, Hypno Wizard spits a corrupting mist at a target enemy. This enemy hero will become spellbound, casting all of their off-cooldown unit-targeted spells on their nearest ally. Mm-hmm. If no allies are in range, the spellbound target will run with additional movement speed towards their nearest ally until they come into range of a spell. If multiple allied heroes are in range of the spellbound target spells, then each hero will be targeted in turn with a random point target spell. The spellbound target's cooldowns are independent of their hero for the duration of the effect. The spellbound's target does not attack and is untargetable. So that's the ult. And it's going to be, I put 100 second cooldown, but maybe 110 or something. And it lasts for 5 seconds, so 5 second duration and some bonus movement speed. I put 50, 75, 90.
That 5 seconds,
that's fast.
Are they uncontrollable when you've cast on?
Yes, they're uncontrollable. It's like Troll Warlord ult. They just run towards their allies to cast their spells on them.
Bloody hell.
So the dream situation is you blink in, use Hypnosis on a Doom, who instantly dooms one of his allies, and then is I don't think he doesn't have any other point target spells, so at that point he would just doom one of his allies. Maybe you could do a thing where if all of their available spells are on target, then it ends. So you just doom an ally, and then it ends. Or maybe they are still under the effect for 5 seconds. I'm not sure, but that's the dream. Yeah. That's the dream situation. But then when Doom comes back, he still has Doom. Because I thought it'd be ridiculously OP if not only does he Doom an ally, he also then doesn't have the spell. It's like a double whammy. So I was it's an independent cooldown. So say you use it on a Lion, another dream situation, you use it on Lion, and maybe there's 3 heroes around him, he hexes one, and he
Earth spikes,
mana drain, just uses everything.
Fingers.
And then after a bit he comes back and is normal.
So I can't cast it on an Enigma and they cast Hole on their team?
No, because it's not. It has to be point target spell.
So Lion is like best case scenario because he's 4-point target.
Cast it on Toady, who ribbits one of his allies. It's pretty good. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, that's the gist. That's the rough vibe. And I don't have any talent ideas other than making the Hypno Swing AoE a bit bigger. That's one thing that I wanted to do. So the gameplay idea, because I can see that you sound a bit confused, which is understandable. The gameplay idea I had is a support, and you can do really cool support things in the lane with your alter ego, like pulling while you're still harassing. So you know how Nature's Prophet does like pulls of treants and stuff. So you can do that with your ego while you're still harassing and doing stuff with your main hero. And you can also put your ego in base and then teleport to it and then come back again, sort of thing. Or you can just put your ego in some other lane ready for like a free TP, join a gank sort of thing. You can do a quick switch and then either use Hypnosis or like use your Hypno Swing. And if you've got your two dudes together, your alter ego and your hero together, then you've got both elements of the aura at the same time. So you're incentivized in some way to keep them together. And then you also have the potential to combo both your Hypno Swings for a 2-second stun rather than a 1-second stun. So
the Hypno Swing, so that's where he leaps forward and stuns for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this tiny little... that seems a bit out of place for this ranged int pos 4 to be doing. Sounds like suicide.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea if it was a ranged, like you throw a bolt, like Agony, like a missile to an AoE on the floor, and it would be a small AoE stun. That would be cool.
So maybe rather than one being a lunge and the other being a projectile, like a quick projectile. Maybe they're both just quick projectiles.
Yeah, I think that projectile AoE stun sounds cool. 1 second from like firing. Yeah, like you say, you could get 2 seconds if you.
Let's do that. Then. Let's do that. A hot fix. So now both the alter ego and your main hero have Hypno Swing, but we're going to change it to like Hypno Bolt or something.
Yeah,
which is like a projectile, small stun in an AoE. So in theory, you could combo a 2-second stun, but in order to do that,
they have to be together.
You'd have to be together, and maybe if you wanted to make it really hard, you have to switcheroo into the other hero to do it. I don't know. Maybe that's just like too much, too annoying, and it feels weird to me to have an illusion that can cast spells. So I almost feel like you should have to.
Like Silverberg can cast spells.
True.
Arc Warden's got spells.
And it's also like it's only going to be. What, 2.2 seconds? I guess that's the spell amp. It's not debuff amp. So yeah, so it's just 2 seconds. Like, I think that's balance.
I feel like the aura one's a bit underwhelming because you've now just got these 2 units which both offer. Can you get 2 ultimates?
I think it could scale more because. You think about Elder Titan, his numbers are a lot higher than Hypno Man.
Hypno Wizard.
Hypno Wizard. Yeah, like 11. I mean, it's basically like it's 22 between your amp and their debuff amount, but it could probably be higher.
Yeah, make it higher. So I get, because at the moment it's like 22, you can make it like 30 maybe, don't know, 35 or something, I don't know.
I was going to say 20 and 20, make it 40, but
yeah, sounds good.
That's
because
I mean, like Elder Titan's like 100%, so
that's
on
true,
on the armor. But I really like the idea of making someone cast spells on their teammates.
Yeah, I just thought it was fun having the idea of like one of your friendly heroes like in a mist of like hypnosis, like running at your heroes really quickly with like 80, 100 extra MS, and then just like hexing them and just like blasting them with their own spells, like in a crate, like they've been hypnotized. I thought that was pretty cool.
But they're like, they can't take damage, So it's not like, they're just pseudo-feared, and you just wail on them.
Yeah.
Like I think it's fair and fun.
Yeah, I didn't want it to be like a 5
sense.
second fear. That would be bonkers, because then you just kill them.
Right.
You can't do that. So, but yeah, I thought I sort of wanted a hero that would be quite weak in lane, but then also has this, or generally a bit weak, but because of this like alter ego, it can be weak globally, which kind of makes you a little bit strong. And then also the ult is kind of nuts. So anyway, there you go. That's my hero.
I agree. I like the fact that the strength is from the global, because I also agree that the spells are under-tuned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like the base spells are underwhelming, which is probably good because you've got this, I think, unbelievable global mobility. And then the ultimate sounds ridic.
Yeah.
Triggeringly ridic. But you can't stop your allies using the spells on you, because you can't.
You gotta just run away, and if you can't run away,
you somehow run out of BKB.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems insane.
But also,
but then it
they
doesn't.
still have their spells when they come back, so
it doesn't
it's
actually do that much to the hero that you use it on. It's just if.
True.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if, like you said, you just get to use their doom and then it's done. Like that would probably be too strong. Maybe that's the 25 talent.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. But there you go. Yeah, so my idea was like, you're top and you use this hypno swing for a small stun, like contribute to a gank with a slow and a stun, and then literally a second later you can be bottom doing the same thing with your illusion, which has a separate cooldown on the stun, and then you're like flying around, all over the place. I think it's quite cool. And needed a bit of micro in there. So there you go. I will put the finishing touches and then we'll put it on Discord. Marco can put his stuff on like a little page or something, like a.
Have you used the one that Adam did?
I have. It is. You can, if you want to put your hero on there, you can. It was a bit confusing for me. But,
yeah, it took longer than I would have wanted.
I might just write it up in a notepad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go. I feel like maybe we can revisit this next week or something. I don't know. I feel like it maybe has some tweaks, but who knows? And
yeah, we could see what they say.
Discord suggestions. Yes, definitely. But yeah, 3 heroes. We've got Caden, Toadie, and Hypno Wizard. So consider those, chew on those, and we'll see you next week.